What is up, guys? It is Easton here, and I just want to say again, thank you all for those who are watching. If you're a returning subscriber, again, I appreciate your love and support. And before we get going with the video, make sure to hit that like button, hit that big red button and subscribe, and let's move right in. So today I wanted to go over the WT and the custom trim levels on the Silverados and go over their cab sizes. Today, well, right now we're starting with the full crew, as you can see here. Again, this is a 2025 brand new, and then our WT, hopefully the wind isn't too loud, that is going to be across the lot, and I'll be able to show that, and we'll do a little comparison there. But the biggest thing that I wanted to dive into is the cab space in the back, if it is worth it to go with a little bit smaller cab, or if the bigger cab makes more sense, what you would be using it for, stuff like that. And again, just some overall comparisons of the truck, what I like, what makes sense to have on it, what doesn't make sense. This one is going to be, again, it's going to be your full-size cab with the 6-foot bed instead of just your standard 5.5-foot bed. Looking at the difference between these two trucks, obviously the gray one's going to look a bit better because, well, it's an RST, so it's going to be a little bit sportier. But if you look at the difference between the two, you really do get more of a work truck feel out of the longer bed as opposed to the standard 5.5-foot. But again, we're not looking at the comparison between these two trucks. We're looking to compare this to our quad cab, which again is going to be all the way across the lot. But let's start with this one here. And again, guys, make sure to hit that subscribe and like button and leave a comment down below. Again, guys, to start with reference, and you can't really tell here, but I am about 6'3". Now, I'm not coherently a big guy. I weigh about 170 pounds, so I'm a little light right now, but I am lengthy. So let's move that seat forward, all the way forward, to kind of give you guys an idea, again, as far as the space in the back here. And I know you guys are waiting to see that smaller cab to see if it even makes any sense, again, especially with a guy my height. But holy cow, guys, look at how much room we have in here. Again, that's if the driver up front is obviously 4 foot nothing. They can barely touch the pedals. Shouldn't really even be driving, if you ask my opinion, right? But in the back here, you are going to have plenty of space. Again, this is seated all the way back. You don't have the reclining seats like in the nicer trim levels. These are just going to be the straight up seats. However, you do have these nice little storage compartments that you can put some stuff in there, which it's nice to know that this comes on a lower trim level truck. Again, this is a 2025. However, it is just one of the lowest trim levels that you can get. You're still going to have your cup holders back here. I'm interested to see if it is in the shorter back seat. I'm not entirely sure, but you are going to get your vents. You're going to have USB and USB-C ports. In the doors here, you still do have your cup holders, which is nice. But overall, guys, it's more or less just the space, and I can ride comfortably back here, even if the seat is brought a lot more back. In fact, let's scooch over to this side right here. And I mean, this is typically where someone's going to sit anyways, and I mean, even with my feet going under there, it's not hitting the back of the seat. I can sit here comfortably. I could see myself sitting here on a long car ride. There are no issues there. It's really comfortable. And I mean, not that it is important, but Chevy really does put a nicer cloth into their vehicles, at least in my opinion, as opposed to Ford, especially. Like I said, I drive a Ram. I do think this is a bit more durable than Ram's cloth interior, but both of them definitely trump Ford, and that 100% takes the cake, at least for me. You know, and on our way over to the shorter cab, to kind of just make the interior comparison here real quick for anybody wondering, this is an LTZ, which is more of your luxury trim level. And I mean, guys, other than the seats having leather and this wooden trim right here, there isn't a whole lot that's different. Your vents are up here rather than more on the ground. You do have some heated seats back here, but you're still going to have your USB, USB-C ports. But these seats do tend to be a little bit more reclined back for comfort. But again, you're still going to have your cup holders here, and you're going to have the storage in there, which again, I doubt we're going to see on the shorter back seat WT. All right, guys, and here she is in all of her glory. Just look at this good looking truck right here. We have done a video on this before, the WT with the shorter back seat and the long bed. Again, talked about its uses. If you guys want to go check that out, I'll link that down below. But here it is. I mean, I've kind of dove into the back seat a little bit in that video. However, this is going to be a little bit more detailed comparison. But if we walk up right here, ooh, that's actually kind of nice. I didn't notice that. You do have your black paint matched handles, which is kind of interesting that they'd be on the WT and at least not on the custom, whereas you have the, gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? It's more of the black tread kind of door handles, which I do still like, but I think that the paint match looks a lot classier. But hopping in, I mean, if you're going to have to ask your front passenger to move his seat up quite a bit. But again, if we get in here, it is not very comfortable, guys. I mean, and granted, a little bit of a Rick and Morty reference there for you guys. Granted, the seat is more or less all the way back. This is actually somewhere where I would sit. In fact, I don't know if this was me who drove the truck last. But, I mean, guys, you don't have the built-in storage in the back seat here, which is a really nice feature to have. You don't even have your cup holders in the back. So, I mean, people really aren't meant to be sat back here. Again, this is where you're putting most of your tools. So a lot of the time, if we hop back out here, these are going to spend their time up for, well, like I said, most of the time you have your, if I could get that up. You have your jack and wrench here in case you get a flat tire, but you're going to have the floors all lined again for those tools and for the cargo that you're carrying around. Again, this is more meant as a work truck, but if it wasn't, and it was something that people wanted to ride in comfortably, well, unfortunately, that is not happening, guys, because that is a very small back seat. And guys, the last thing that I wanted to do was to compare the back seat of my truck. Oh, so if we hop in here, because the seat is already down, well, guys, honestly, I'd say it's worse than my truck. My seat is definitely sat more where I would sit. My seat is definitely sat more where I would sit. And this is definitely a lot less comfortable than even in the WT. So I am pretty impressed with Chevy's cab size in the rear. I definitely know that some of my friends who are also my height and who I would haul around in, well, high school and to other certain events, they would always complain about my back seat, and well, I can understand why. It's interesting because this gives the illusion like it is a little bit bigger, but in reality, the one on the Chevy was the bigger size. Again, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you haven't hit that like button, make sure to already. Make sure to comment and subscribe, most importantly, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later.